Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. So anytime I feel frazzled, I just be still, and then I just let it figure itself out.
Right. Three, two, one, action. Yes, sir. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Millionaire Mansion podcast. My name is James Hodgkin. I'm the owner of the Millionaire Mac Club, and we believe millionaire is defined by mindset, not monetary status. And we got another Millionaire Mac talk today. I got a very special guest. I got Ron Colmon. You know, I was scrolling through the gram trying to find some great people for y'all, and I stumbled on Ron's IG, saw he was doing some real estate, and I was like, man, everybody needs a piece of real estate. So I had to get him on the pod so he can spit some knowledge, tell us about his journey and all of that. So let's get into it. Ron, how you doing, bro? Let the people know who you are.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. So my name's Ronald Colmon. I'm 27. Actually, I just turned 27 a couple weeks ago. So I'm a 27-year-old entrepreneur. A little background about me. I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised. I went to high school there. Then I went to college, University of Pittsburgh, got my degree in engineering. And then I went to get my master's. Well, I was in a PhD program, but I actually wound up, I don't want to say dropping out, but I basically mastered out. Got my master's in engineering, then a master's in accounting. And that's pretty much how my entrepreneur journey started, because I was in a PhD program when I started my business. And it wasn't until I was in my business and I was realizing how much money I was making and how much more I enjoyed what I was doing in my business versus what I was doing in school. When I decided that I no longer wanted to get my PhD, I felt like it was useless.
So
which
you got 2 masters?
Yeah.
God dang. How much school did you do? How many years of college?
8.
Dang. It was a grind, huh?
Yeah, because I did 5 years in undergrad and then I did 3 in grad school. But I wouldn't have done that many if I would have never been in a PhD program.
Right.
So
how long was the PhD program supposed to be?
I would have had like 2 or 3 more years.
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Wait, so if you did the PhD program, you would have been a doctor in what?
Probably engineering.
Mechanical engineering. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. So okay, so you started the company while you're in your master's program. And which company was that?
I started my company while I was in my PhD program.
So you're crazy. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah. So actually, it's right here. It's MWMT, or My Work, My Time. Actually started off as an accounting firm. So that's pretty much what I do. I do virtual tax service, accounting, bookkeeping, and then I added life insurance and health insurance to my platform, just because I felt like, it was something that was really necessary in our community that's not necessarily talked about. And when I found out how wealth was really being passed down, it was kind of like a no-brainer to start to branch off into the insurance industry. So that's kind of how I got into my entrepreneurial journey, but that was more so like work. Right. I was just like working for myself. So I considered that kind of like self-employed. Right. It wasn't until I got into real estate, but I was always working towards real estate, right? Even when I was still in my PhD or in undergrad, the goal was always to own rental property. My goal was always, I wanted to have rental property and I wanted to own a big house. I wanted to design it myself. So I just felt like I had to work hard and long to save money in order to get my first rental property and then go ahead and get more.
Right.
And it wasn't until I actually went to, a close friend of mine, and also, kind of like a mentor to me, his mentorship in last December, where he pretty much taught me about how you can use credit and business credit in order to go ahead and pretty much expedite your success and use that to go ahead and get assets such as properties or Turo cars or Airbnbs or anything like that. So once I learned that, I always had good credit. Right. I was just using my credit the wrong way. I was using my credit for things that I wanted, you know what I mean? Yeah. That I couldn't necessarily get right away. So when I was in my apartment and my PhD program and I needed a couch, I just financed my couch. I had good credit. I could do stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it was things like that. Granted, financing your couch is not necessarily the worst idea.
Right.
But I was just using it for the wrong reasons, right? So I could have probably been a lot farther in life if I would have known about credit earlier, and I would have a lot stronger credit profile if I knew about it.
So I know for some people credit can be a super scary thing, and I know obviously it's not your expertise, but you have some experience with one, using your credit for once, and then using your credit to build your asset portfolio. So
Right.
when you first learned the real wealth building generation of like using your credit to get you asset uh different assets, was that jump scary? Was it scary to kind of take that gamble per se?
Nah, to me, no. I mean, I've always been a risk taker, right? And I always been the person in my family I felt like that had to do what no one else was doing. Because everybody else, I feel like, and I don't want to be mean, but I just feel like everyone plays, not necessarily plays by the rules, but everybody plays in bounds, right? Everybody plays in bounds to the point where it's like, if anything sounds, without it being illegal, I have family members that do illegal things, but I mean, like, if they're a legal person, they always stay in bounds. They never go against things that are just the norm or the tradition. So for me, it wasn't really a risk because I didn't want to be where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be in the same position. I wanted to change where I was going anyway, right? And my thing is, I was going to get a PhD. Nobody in my immediate family was doing that. You know what I'm saying? I went to college straight out of high school and for engineering. Nobody in my family was doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the first of my generation on both sides. So it was me. I was always had to be the risk taker or the one that shows my family what it was. It helps that one of my, you know what I'm saying, closest friends and mentor, he basically was doing what he was saying, you know what I'm saying? So when he was telling me, it wasn't like he was just telling me and he didn't have any proof. I seen what he was doing, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know to what extent it was until I came home on Christmas break, because obviously you always come home for breaks and things like that. So when you go to college, you kind of separate from your friends a lot, so you don't really see like what's going on in and out. We would talk all the time, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of what was really going on. And when I finally, and then another thing too, part of that disconnect was because he was building a good presence on social media at the time, and he was doing everything through kind of social media. So not only that was I not talking to him, but I deleted my Instagram. I deleted, like, not deactivated, I deleted it.
Right.
And I was off of Instagram for a year. So when he was building for that year, I didn't know what was really going on. So it's not like I could be educated on it. We didn't really talk about it. And I felt like until he learned, really that credit space, he couldn't really tell me that. So I was still under the impression of like, this is the way I know. This is basically the way I know how to get my money and work. And this is my plan. So I was planning to not get my first rental property until I'm 27. I didn't think I was gonna get my first rental property until 30, 31.
For real.
You know what I mean? So now I got two, or I'm on a partnership with one and I own another one, and I'm looking to get another one.
So you're 4 years ahead of plan.
Yeah. 4 years ahead of plan, but I still feel 4 years behind. Just because, technically this would have been my 4th year in grad school. So I should have never went.
Right. That was what I was about to ask you. Do you think if you were exposed to these tools earlier, do you think you would have ended up going to college?
I probably would have went to undergrad, but I wouldn't have went to grad school. And the only reason, but I would have did it differently. Like I would have did college differently.
Right.
The only reason I would go to college is networking and experience, because I feel like college is important to help you grow.
Right.
Like I recommend that everyone goes to college. If you're going to go to college, I feel like you have to go at least 3 hours away from home. And the reason I say that is because that 3 hours can take a toll on you if you're trying to do it every weekend, right? So you got to go far enough away where you really have to learn yourself and change and grow and meet new people. And, Pennsylvania, I'm from Pennsylvania. So like I'm from Philly. So it's a lot of state schools, but those state schools are a lot of Philly people.
Right.
Don't go to a state school. You need to go to a school like that is not filled with people where you're from. It's filled with people from all walks of life. You know, I went to school, people from Nigeria, people from Ghana, people from DC, people from North Carolina, people from California. You know what I'm saying? Then I went to school near one of the toughest schools in the country, Carnegie Mellon, that was down the street from me. So it was just a different type of breed of networking. You understand? I was exposed to different things. And then also, man, you know, to be honest, I dated a lot. I always, you know, always was cool with women, you know what I'm saying? So I dated a lot, but through that, I was able to be exposed to different things too, right? Somebody I dated, both her parents were surgeons. That's a different type of exposure, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's like you, as you go to those spaces, you just meet different types of people, and a lot of things about yourself change. The way you view the world changes, right? So me being exposed to that, me being exposed to a couple that was immigrants or that was poor, and then they lived in a $3 million mansion and they got it from the mud. You know how much that made me like want to go harder. You feel me? Because I was exposed to that. So because I was exposed to it and I seen that it was possible, it was like, oh, that was when I was on I'm gonna go get my PhD. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna grind it out for these 10 years and I'm gonna be cool.
Right.
You feel me? But then when I got into my PhD program, oftentimes, you know, people pay for grad school, right? My grad school was paying me. So I was on a salary, but my salary was terrible. I was getting $25,000 a year. If you do the math, it's like a little over $2,000 a month. But depending on how they break it up, sometimes it doesn't necessarily come out to that because they'll give you a lump sum. They'll give you 3 lump sums of money. Like one in the fall, one in the spring, and then one in the summer. And then they'll also pay you bi-weekly. So they pay you like $14,000 up, like basically over the 3 terms. And then they'll pay you bi-weekly. But bi-weekly, I was only getting $500. So I would take my lump sum of money and I would pay up as much as rent I could, and then I would be living off the $500 every 2 weeks. But $500 every 2 weeks in Massachusetts is terrible. You can't live off of that. So you can imagine that frustration, right? So I worked on the side, and then I became.
Where were you working at?
I was working. Where did I work at first? I was working in a liquor store.
Oh, okay.
I worked in a liquor store. And then the next year, I became like the graduate advisor of NSBE, which is like National Society of Black Engineers. So I was getting paid for that. So that kind of helped me out. So instead of getting $500 every 2 weeks, I was getting basically $1,000 every 2 weeks. So that really helped me out. It really gave me that kind of a little bit more cushion on top of working. But with all of that, my time was short.
Right.
I was expected to go to school. I was expected to be the graduate advisor for NSBE. I was expected to work, and I was expected to do research. Mind you, the school only pays you for 10 or 20 hours a week, or they was paying me technically for 10 hours a week, but they was expecting me to do research for 40 hours, go to class. Oh, I forgot about classes. So I did research. I supposed to do research for 40 hours. I had classes. I worked for 20 hours a week, and I had graduate advisor in NSBE for at least 5 hours a week, on top of still living my life. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, I was just fed up with it. You know what I'm saying? I was tired of it. I felt like it couldn't be life. I was over it. You know, it was a lot of times where I decided I didn't want to go to class. Like I didn't want to go to class. I didn't want to go to the lab. And it showed in my performance. Like that was the one time I can't say the one time, but that was a time in my academic career where you could see that I wasn't happy because I wasn't performing. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing or what they said I should have been doing.
Right. So in the time that you weren't going to class, were you doing anything productive or were you just like figuring out what you were trying to do?
No, I was working.
Oh,
so it was like I was taking so much time. I was so focused on trying to survive and live that I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't focused on things that I felt like wasn't paying me. Right. I feel like you get to a certain point in school where if things aren't paying you directly, you're like, I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Even right now, I'm in a class right now. I'm taking a class right now for health insurance reasons. And because it doesn't pay me, I don't focus on it. You understand what I'm saying? Right. I run a business. So I focus on my clients and I focus on my properties.
Right.
My school comes last because my school's not paying me.
Right.
At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You call a spade a spade. Technically, I probably wasted $1,400, but it's like $1,400 saved me a lot more money in health insurance. But in terms of my focus isn't there because I'm so focused on everything else, because that's what's making me live and survive each day and every day. So it was like,
yeah, no, bro, I feel that, because honestly, I'm kind of in a position like that right now because I'm still in college and I'm playing hoop, doing school, and I'll work on and off whenever they need me around the school. But like I'm building my brand, building my company, and I'll just have a hard time getting myself to lock in and do some algebra 2 when I know I could be recording a pod, editing a pod, networking. I could be reaching out to different clients. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, this algebra 2 is not going to be paying me, but I still have my name on my schooling. So I'm like, I got to do.
Yeah. But you know what you got to do. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't really know how podcasts work. So I don't know how money comes in through those, but the best thing you could do. And like, I started this and then but then my performance from them were bad. So then I stopped, and it kind of put me at a halt, to be honest. And and then I got so caught up with investments that my money is strapped. So I was like, but honestly, the best advice I can give you, man, is hire some help.
Yeah, bro. Like that's what I've been.
That's all you can do. Go get you a virtual assistant from the Philippines, or get you somebody from Fiverr that can edit those pods and do all that stuff that you don't necessarily need to do yourself. Because the only thing that you should focus on in the business is building it, which is you hosting the podcast and advertising the business. Right. Everything else should be done by somebody else. It's easier said than done, obviously, but I'm telling you, your success will probably be a lot better if you just budget now to pay somebody else to do that, because now it'll just help. It'll take so much time off of you, and then you can still focus on school.
Facts, bro. I've been actually really, really, really contemplating that, because I've gotten to the point where I've expanded where it's getting to a point where it's overflowing. My work is overflowing. Like I've outgrown the jobs that I'm doing. I've learned everything. I've learned these low level skills. Now it's time to start learning higher level skills so I can upgrade and start performing, really build the company to a 6-figure company, 7-figure company, 8-figure company. So my question for you is, so you were doing your undergrad, you had that scholar program, you had the studying, the labs, all that. When did you, so you said you started your company in the PhD program. So that's like 6 years into college, 5 years into college?
No, 7.
7 years. So, all right, tell me about that. Tell me about the year that you launched it and all that good stuff.
So, interestingly enough, I actually started my company before I even started my company. So, let me think about it. So, I actually started as a t-shirt company. It was a joke. I seen a meme, and it was whatever Jaden Smith's like anime character, and he was holding a sign at the bus stop, and I had somebody edited it and put like, I need some neck on the sign. So I'm a pretty like I say things, or I'm a vulgar guy in some ways. So I felt it was funny. I was like, I'm gonna sell this shirt,
right?
And I just jokingly was like, I'm gonna sell this shirt, and then that's what I did. I just like built my whole. I like came up with my name, kind of came up with a logo that I don't like it now, but I came up with some logo. I was throwing some stuff together, had a little website, and that was like, I came up with my work, my time, and I was trying to sell this shirt, and it failed. And then it was back to a regular scheduled program with school, and then like I said, I went to my friend's event. I learned about credit. And I learned about how I could really, scale the business, or, get that original capital to go ahead and do what I need to do. And that's what I did. So I started that. Technically, I started last December. So it's almost a year on December 5th.
Oh, okay, bad.
Yep. So it's like, it's going to be a year soon. So mind you, I did a lot in a year.
Right.
So within a year,
you're like 3, 4, 5 years into this.
I'm only a year in. So like within a year, I started my business. I had, I started off doing slight, like I literally went through like a whole life cycle of a business kind of fast. So I started off, I was undercharging, you know what I'm saying? I didn't recognize my real overhead expenses. Then when I finally got it together, COVID actually helped me out because the IRS pushed back when they started the tax season and then they ended it later. So it kind of helped me get through all the mistakes. Like I learned that I needed a certain number. It's called an EFIN. I didn't have my EFIN, so I was asking somebody else to use their EFIN first. And as soon as I was getting ready to go use theirs, mine came in. Mind you, we was in the middle of tax season. So it was just like everybody wasn't getting their W-2s and all that. So it was I just honestly got blessed, you know what I'm saying, the way that it all worked out. And then, you know, I went from making, mind you, this is real numbers. Like I went from making $2,000 a month, or like it was probably like it was probably like after taxes, I probably was making like $2,800 a month between.
Just the tax part of your business.
No, this is like, I'm talking about from the school. I was making like 22. I was making like a little under 2,000 from the school, and then I worked. Remember, so I was then I made like another $800 or something like that. So I was making $2,800, and then that first month in business, I made like 4,000, and then I had like my school thing. That next month, I quit school, and that next month I made 10,000. Then the next month I made 21,000.
Whoa, wait, time out. So this is all last year.
This is all last year.
And this is your first year in the business.
This is my first year in business. But mind you, I came in as an accountant in tax season. So it was like I didn't have, you know what I'm saying? I came in during peak season. Right. So it was kind of like those were real numbers if you do it the right way. You know what I mean? So
where are you finding your clients?
I did most of it through Instagram and word of mouth. Through Instagram, word of mouth, bro. I just marketed myself, branded myself. You know, I had help. I obviously had friends promote me that had platforms and things of that sort. So I can't take all the credit for myself. But I definitely, you know, I just grinded it up. And then, you know, I started investing in myself. I took the money and I invested in myself. When I look back, you know, I don't regret it, but I wish I would have invested in an asset first that would pay me passively and then invest in myself. But the problem was the things that I invested in, you can't get it again. So it's like, I can't really be upset because it's like I invested in courses that they're never happening again.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't really be upset. And I learned a lot, you know what I mean? I invested in myself. And I really did. I invested in myself and I invested in the business. And then kind of once, you know, things kind of died down a little, then I had to pivot, you know what I mean? Not really pivot. My what I do is still the same, but, you know, tax season is really 4 months out of the year. And then, you know, people sometimes file late, but most of the time you're going to make most of your money in those first 4 months of the year. So, you know, it was kind of an adjustment. And then I started to offer like my bookkeeping thing and insurance, you know what I mean? Like I said earlier. And then that's when I was heavily like really looking for real estate. You know what I'm saying? I was really looking for asset because I stopped getting checks in May. My last check was like May 15th or something like that, some around there. That was my last check. When you're not getting that check no more, things are a little bit different. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So as I stopped getting my last check, then I was heavily looking into like, hey, I need to really find something that's going to pay me because I'm so used to getting paid. But I knew I didn't want to go back to giving so much time to everything else because I wasn't able to put it into my business.
Was there ever like a sense of panic? Was there ever like a sense of panic when you knew like, oh, this is my last check, like I need to get to it? Or was it just
not really? I don't think I panicked enough. Honestly, but that's because when I got my last check, I was having a $20,000 a month.
Right.
You understand? So it's like my last check was $487. I was making 20 grand in my business at that time.
So was that your first time making that type of money?
First time ever.
So what was that like?
That was the first time I earned that type of money. It's different when that's my first time making that kind of money. It's different when you get a refund check for 9,000 that go into your account. You feel like you up, but I don't know, bro. It was weird to me. and it was like I never really seen it because I was always I was investing back into the brand, or I was investing back into myself. So even though like I think the most I seen in my account at the time was only like 18,000 at the time. Right. And then it like immediately went down because I had stuff coming out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was, you know, it was definitely, you know, I didn't panic enough, I feel like. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't regret it. I'm happy I did everything I did because everything was a lesson. You know, and obviously you have a plan and plans change, you know what I mean? Our plans don't always go as they seem. But you know, from my plan, I'm not too far off. I'm not too far off, and I'm still gonna keep going.
Right. So, all right, you got the business jumping, and it's almost about to be a year. So you say you got 2 properties, working on a third, right?
Trying to get a third, yeah.
What month did you get both of those properties this year, in 2021 or 2020?
Yeah, both of them. I got them a day apart.
Hold on, tell us that story. What's up?
Yeah, so all right, so actually it wasn't on purpose though. Like honestly, I was supposed to close on one of them a whole month before I closed on it. But it was just both of the properties were having problems. Like so it's a thing when you get an agreement of sales. When you get a property, you get an agreement of sales, and in slang terms we call it locking a deal up. Right. So I locked my deal by myself up. And like probably the beginning of September. And my original close date was September 30th. When it got close to September 30th, they found out it was a problem with the agreement of sales because the seller was actually a wholesaler. So they technically terminated the they basically what do you call it? They broke the contract. You know what I'm saying? They didn't follow the contract. So I could have technically said, I don't want the deal anymore. But I did want it. You know what I mean? So I was like, no, like, just do what y'all got to do. But that wound up being basically delaying a whole nother month. But they had to pretty much redo everything over.
Wait, what was wrong with dude being a wholesaler?
Basically, you have to disclose that. So like the way they prepare the documents is different when you're wholesaling the deal versus if you're not. Right. So that's where everything was going on.
So I'm assuming the property was like distressed.
Yeah, both of them were.
For the people that aren't listening, like a distressed property, it's like beat up, run down, needs some work.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then the deal got pushed back a month.
Right. So, but mind you, that during that, me and my partner and bro and best friend, we decided to go half on another deal. Like a few weeks after I already locked up the first one. So when that happened, it was like, okay, I'm not supposed to close this one until like the end of October-ish, or like the middle of October or something like that. However, it was things going wrong with the lender over here, but this one was with the wholesale. So then they wound up just closing in on each other. And then the person that my lender on the first deal, he was telling me like, hey, if you close on that other deal first, we'll give you a big discount on what you got to bring to the table. I come to find out in closing, he basically was wrong about that. Because based on how the appraisal and the numbers came, it wasn't possible to do that. Like they only give you a certain percentage of loan to value or loan to cost of the property. Right. So I already was maxed out to my loan to value. So they weren't going to lower my down payment by anything. So I was rushing the title company over here to get everything in so that I could close on that first to get a discount. And it just didn't happen that way. It was a lot that went into it. So basically I closed on this one, the second one day, and the next one the next day, so that I could basically hopefully take advantage of me paying less, and it still didn't work out.
Right. Dang. So wait, where are those properties at?
Philadelphia.
Okay. So what's your plan with them?
So right now, they're both going through full gut rehabs. So that's when you kind of demo, and then you pretty much you demo the property all the way brick to brick. Then you basically, re-level the floors, lay new floors, frame everything, frame new rooms, put every new plumbing, new HVAC, new electric in, close the walls up, paint, put the floors down, do the bathrooms, you do everything brand new. So they're both in the process of being rehab at this moment. One of them is we probably are almost done plumbing, and then we're pretty much going on to HVAC and electric. And then my other property is full demo. The floors are down level, but I had a tree that actually grew into the basement of my property.
Holy.
Basically, that was the whole process, and then I also had to get a permit for that. So it was a lot that was going on. So they're in the process of like cutting down that wall that the tree was against to then reframe it up to secure it. Then they got to take the stump of the tree out of that basement wall, and then they got to like basically do a new cement wall to resecure that foundation down there. So it's a lot going on for that other one, but that should be all done within the next week. Like they should be done framing everything within the next week or so.
Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, how much are you in for the first property?
The one that I did with the tree?
Yeah.
Right now, let me think. With or without closing, like just rehab?
With all of it, with closing and rehab.
I mean, at this very moment, I'm probably in like 78,000.
Okay.
All in. And I got a lot more to go.
Right. So once both of them are rehabbed, are you gonna Airbnb it, put some tenants in?
No, I'm gonna so then I'm gonna refinance the properties and I'm gonna rent them. So I'm gonna refinance them so I can pay back my original construction loan.
Right.
And then I'm gonna rent them out so that they could pay that back and then also give me money.
So where'd you learn your real estate knowledge?
So I don't know if you follow this guy, but his name's Newt the Entrepreneur. So he's on Instagram, pretty big guy, pretty big on Instagram. And he told me everything, you know what I mean? He told me everything I know. I'm a quick learner. I got common sense. I've always been good with numbers, but he taught me the psychology and everything about it. And I kind of ran with it from there. So, but everything I know about it, he taught me. From where to how to look for deals, how to compare, how to know what numbers you're going to get, how to know what you're going to actually need to spend, how much you actually are allotted for a budget, everything, how to find contractors. He told me everything. So
yeah,
I got lucky. But he does offer, mentorships and things of that sort for people that are looking to get into that.
Right.
But he did teach me everything I know, man. So, like I said, I acknowledge that I would never be here by myself. And I think people that say they are, that's just not true. You know what I'm saying? Nobody does it by themselves. You get help from any kind of way, but you got to just make sure that, you pay homage and you acknowledge that help and try to add value back to them. Right. So, he taught me a lot. And right now, he taught me a lot. He the reason why I even started my business, you know what I mean? And I provide my accounting. I provide accounting for his business. So I'm adding value to him, but even then it still sometimes feels like it's lopsided because yeah. So it's like, eventually, once I get more on my feet, it's new to me. So it's a lot of money out right now. So it's like, but I understand the process. I understand that it's going to come back and rebuttal. But I think once I get on my feet and really can have a little bit more clear of a head, I do plan to give back, man. I gotta pay him back. You know what I mean? I gotta bring something to him that's you know what I mean? So,
right.
But I do feel, sometimes I feel like, I don't want to say it's lopsided, like it's not one-sided, but sometimes I do feel like, man, it's bro, done gave me so much, and
I'm
that's
trying to get them
how,
back.
how can I repay him? You know what I mean? But I did save him. I did save him a lot of money in taxes last year. So
Right.
you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's cool. But that's just one of the things that you gotta like. I feel like you always gotta acknowledge who helped you out, man. Always gotta acknowledge who got you to where you are, and it's okay to not. And I want to say this because I feel like this is like a big thing in our generation now. But it's okay to not be the man. It's okay to not be like the number one. You know what I mean? I don't even like, and you don't know what demons they go through or what things they go through when they're in those positions. I don't want to be the biggest guy. I just want to be good for myself and my family. You understand what I'm saying? Most of the richest people in this world we don't know. You understand? I don't even say rich. Most of the wealthy people in this world we don't know. But then you got famous people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always used to say I'd rather be wealthy than famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate my bro. You know what I'm saying? I understand that he the man. You know what I'm saying? I don't even try to be that. I don't envy it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel no type of way. I acknowledge that, I give him his props. And then it's like, I just hope to be able to pay him back.
Right.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean? So that's all that is.
That's what's up. So, man, so you got a lot going on. You got the life insurance, you got the accounting, you got the real estate, all
Yep.
of that. So, how do you manage your day to day? How you manage your day to day?
Honestly, man, I don't even know. To be honest, like I really don't know. I'm really in the process of like I need to hire. Like I'm in the mindset like I'm gonna hire an assistant in probably February or March. Like once I finish these two projects, like I'm gonna hire an assistant.
Right.
Like that's like when I get the money from that, I'm gonna clear my debts and then I'm gonna hire an assistant. That's literally my goal. Like I'm gonna hire an executive assistant. I already know who it is. I already talked to her about it. I know her resume. It's not potential. She's gonna have a master's degree. Like she already does it. I'm gonna hire her.
Yeah.
So that's like my first step. Like my next step is to really hire an assistant that can really handle, my schedule. Let me know what's going on. Keep me on task. Keep me where I need to be. You know what I mean? Because I'll set schedule meetings and then I forget.
Right.
You know, I'll be running late a lot. Like it's just regular stuff, just doing it by yourself. So
Yeah, exactly.
it is hard to manage it all, but I do it. But I also realize that, like they say, you got like you get whatever you focused on. And right now, I'm focused on my properties, and so because I'm focused on my properties, I kind of shun everything else. Right. So now it's like I'm focused on my properties, but I gotta get back into accounting mode too. You know what I mean? Like tax season is around the corner. I got to make sure that I get my clients kind of squared away for the end of the year. So all of those things play a factor, but I try to manage as best as I can. And I understand that I have to hire. It's just that right now I'm allocating everything to the real estate. So, but it also just means, make more money.
Make more money. Yeah.
Yeah. More money, more cash flow. That's all it is.
Right. No, that's what I feel like because I'm juggling a bunch of different projects that I've brought onto myself. So it's obviously like a blessing. And that I just always have to ask different people that I know that are doing big things. Hey, how you manage your stuff just so I can take little bits and nuggets that they got and then find out what works for me. So man, so you got a lot going on. Do you ever get the feeling of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I know I'm doing something, but what am I doing?
Not anymore.
Uh-huh.
When I was kind of in that phase of where tax season ended and I was no longer getting a check and then I didn't have any property, you know what I mean? And clientele was slow. Yes. I was very much like, damn, what the fuck am I doing? Did I make a mistake? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I feel like the walls are crashing. But it was like every time, it was like, okay. But it was like every time I would get in a position, something would come through or I'll
Right.
just figure it out. I always been a figure it out type of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's always been me. You know what I mean? My mom always figured it out.
Right.
So because my mom always figured it out, I always figured it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always been independent. You know, I kind of tried to take myself uh, off of my mom once I was like 14.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like most of the things that I wanted and kind of needed, and my mom always obviously fed me and gave me a roof. But when it came to like clothes and all that extra stuff, I tried to do that on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like I always figured it out. I always been good with like creative finance and figuring things out. And that's just what I do now. So I'm just it's creative financing, bro. It's just bigger. It's just bigger numbers. Um, just bigger numbers, but it's like I'm just in a weird place because I just started.
Right.
But it's like come a year from now, like actually we should probably do another one.
Ben,
Come a,
no, you were for sure coming
yeah,
back. Oh yeah.
come a year from now, like I'm gonna be in a whole different place because I'm gonna have a big cushion. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's gonna be a little bit different because now everything's just gonna be working for me. Right now, I'm out of my own. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of my own pocket for everything.
Right.
But not necessarily because I use credit, but I'm saying like it was a lot up front now.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm in the game more, then it becomes lower and lower and lower, and I can do
Right.
more. I can scale more.
I like.
So yeah,
Yeah, 100%. You're coming back on me.
yeah.
You're coming back on. So wait, I got a question for you. What's the most? Because you say you're a creative finance type of guy, and I was the same way coming up. Like you said, my mom would provide the simple things for me, but when it was more of the luxury things, when I wanted sneaks or a hoodie or something, I try to figure it out myself. So what was the most creative way that you could remember that you made some bread?
Bro, I used to call my family and ask them could I clean their house.
Okay.
I used to my mom used to give me $5 a day for lunch.
Uh-huh.
Some days I wouldn't eat, or I would get other people's free lunch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
At school, I would eat their free lunch just to get some in my stomach, and then I would save my money so I could go ahead and get something else, or I can go get something, do something else. Then I would work for family on the weekends to try to make some money because my mom didn't want me to work. My mom didn't let me work till I was in a senior in high school.
Yeah.
She kept saying school was your job. So I never worked unless it was the summertime.
Right.
So during the year, it was creative. I always had to be creative. I always had to either save, work for somebody in the family to make some money.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I did. You know what I mean? I that's how I hustle.
Hmm.
And then when I got to college, I always found a job that was on campus that I didn't really have to do much, that I would just kind of collect a check
Right.
and go from there. So that's pretty much it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. I always love hearing those types of stories just because I was the same way. I always have been. And it you can tell by people's childhood stories who's gonna be an entrepreneur, who's gonna
Yep.
be like it's no surprise hearing that story and then seeing what you're doing, you feel me?
Yep.
All right. So I got a few more questions for you, so then we can wrap up. Uh, what are some of the biggest struggles that you've ran into throughout the entrepreneurial journey?
Uh, Trying to make money. That's really it. I mean, it's just money, bro. It's just money and timing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like the money just always comes at the weirdest time.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was me. I feel like the biggest struggle. You know what I mean? You don't get a check anymore.
Right.
So that's always the biggest struggle.
Yeah, no, I feel that. The timing is so fast. So you'd be like, dang, I've been putting in this work. When is it gonna come in? When is it gonna come in? It's not gonna come in. Boom. And then all of a sudden a lump sum just hits you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, my last question for you. Is
Yep.
you have two options to answer. Either what's your favorite quote that you live by, or what's the last life lesson that you've learned? Yeah, this one's always a thinker. My people are always thinking on this one.
I think I don't live by a quote, but I live by a verse.
All right, bet.
Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. So anytime I feel frazzled, I just be still, and then I just let it figure itself out.
Right. That's powerful. I
Yeah.
like that. That's power. Hold on. That verse is the title of the pod right there.
Yep.
That's the title of the pod right there.
Be still.
That is hard. That's hard. Bet, bro. I appreciate this for real. This is awesome.
No problem, Brody. I gotta. So my bride, they about to leave me. So we definitely got to do this again. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to get back on like tomorrow or something and finish, you know what I'm saying? I don't mind that. I don't want to rush you off here.
No. We were about to wrap up. This was perfect. We for sure got to get you back on in like a few months just so we can see what you're doing. But everybody that tuned in, I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe. Real quick, how can they tap in with you?
Follow me on Instagram. It's at one.ron. That's the number 1 DOCRON. One.ron.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna put it in the description. I love y'all. Thank you, Ron. And like my grandma said, keep going, keep growing. Peace.
Peace.